We live, True.
We here. We'll give it a couple seconds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We definitely will. Welcome, everybody. Wait for a couple people to join us, obviously, as always. This is the Views from the 22, Week 17 pregame show. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. 2 days left in the 2018 calendar year. 1 game left in the 2018 regular season. We're just going to wait for some of our audience members to join us. And then we will get started. We got a packed show for y'all today, but we hope not to keep y'all too long, as always. True, anything you want to say to the ghost viewers before the real viewers show up?
Subscribe to the channel.
Yes, sir.
We got content. I was talking in my ghost voice.
Oh man.
So we got a good show this week. Man, it's a lot of good. Oh man, as the season winds down, it's always bittersweet.
Amen, man. It definitely is, but there is nothing.
425 today. Jeez.
What's that?
Everything is at 425 today. Red Zone is gonna get the biggest hits it ever got on at 425.
I swear to you, man. My goodness. Okay, there we go. We just got some inactives come in. Zeke Elliott is inactive. Kamara inactive. Tremaine Johnson is inactive. Cordero Patterson is inactive. Leonard Fournette is inactive. Obviously, we talked about Drew Brees, Devontae Adams, Kenny Golladay. Wow.
Well,
All right. All right, what's happening, Victor? I see we got Victor Mino on. Dennis King in the building. Yes, sir. Dennis, Drew Brees is indeed inactive today. And so is Cam Newton. I mean, for the Saints, obviously everything is locked up. They're the 1 seed. The NFC will have to come through the Big Easy as long as they keep winning. So let's get started. Welcome, everybody. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in so far. I'm sure we're going to get more viewers that come in as we go along. Views from the 22 pregame show coming at you live from YouTube now. This is, I believe, our 3rd week in a row, maybe our 4th, that we do a YouTube show. It was time. It was time. Facebook was not doing anything for us, so we're on YouTube to expand the platform and expand our audience and just give you all a much more in-depth look on exactly how we do things and the things that we want to accomplish. So welcome to the show. Let's get started. Germ So True, you want to say anything to the people before we get to a couple of these news?
True man, false world in the building. Let's do this. Views 22. Let's go.
All right. So a couple of news to begin the day. Obviously, since today is the last Sunday of the 2018 regular season, that means that tomorrow is Black Monday, and that means that there is going to be some firings. More than likely, I mean, there will be some firings. Steve Wilkes, despite multiple players from the Cardinals expressing that they want him back and how much they love him, it seems more and more unlikely that he will be back. So he probably will be coaching his last game for the Arizona Cardinals after 1 season. Mike McCarthy was rumored and linked to the Cardinals job, but obviously Mike McCarthy is going to be linked and rumored to any head coaching job this offseason. He said that he is not interested in that job, and it's not surprising because Rosen and Aaron Rodgers are real close, and I don't think he wants anything to do with Aaron Rodgers, to be honest. So I'm not surprised that he's not interested in that job. Jameis Winston, the Buccaneers announced that they will retain him in 2019. They have not yet made a decision on Dirk Cutter. As I said last week, the only decision should be whether they fire him tonight or whether they fire him tomorrow morning. And then the last one, or the last two actually, Ryan Tannehill and Mike Tannenbaum, the executive for the Dolphins, they are expected to move on from both. Germ, this is something you and I talked about months ago, along with Ty and Vic, the rest of the Views crew. There's no reason to keep Ryan Tannehill on board. He is who he is as a quarterback, and he is who he is. He's not going to get you anywhere. He's going to keep you around 7 wins, 8 wins, 9 wins, and that does you no good. Like, if you're winning 6 to 9 games consistently, that does you no good, because you're going to be constantly picking in the middle of the first round and in the middle of the second round, and it's not a spot you want to be in. Either be really good or really bad, and Ryan Tannehill is just very average. And then lastly, we'll get to this game later, obviously. Huge playoff implications between the Vikings and the Bears. The Rams and the Eagles are going to be keeping a close eye on that game. In my opinion, if the Vikings lose that game, they will, but in my opinion, they should. I don't know if they will, but they should give Mike Zimmer his walking papers on that one. So those are the couple things off the field. True, anything you want to respond? Anything you want to add?
Mike McCarthy, whatever job you decide to pick, please pick a good one.
Yes.
Because Aaron Rodgers got you all upside down and turned around and stuff. So please pick a better job. Shouts out real quick. I think in this particular week, what we're going to notice is the desperate teams, or the teams that should be desperate, are probably not desperate. So more than likely, teams like, let's say, the Steelers shouldn't even feel a sense of desperation, because you got to take care of your business first regardless. The bigger picture here with the Steelers is really simple. Take care of your business, and you just hope that the team you've bullied for so many years bullies their team that they had here before that was taken and moved to Baltimore. Like, the irony of this whole thing is just so like, the Browns got to beat themselves in order for the Steelers, who beat them for the year, to get to the playoffs. Like, this is so ironic, man.
Hey, man, as they often say, truth is stranger than fiction. And this is why we love sports, because you don't need to make up some narrative or some agenda or approach something from a specific angle. The sports world, the sports god, they write a perfect script every year across all the sports. I mean, there's enough good stuff happening. We don't need to be creating false narratives. And I saw something on Twitter that when the now Ravens picked up and moved from Cleveland, Pittsburgh Steelers fans took to the streets and protested to keep them in Cleveland. So it will be a good way to kind of show their gratitude for trying to keep that team in Cleveland. And you know what was crazy about it? How fitting it would be for the quarterback who we have dubbed as the guy to turn around this Browns culture. How fitting it would be if he knocked out the Baltimore Ravens from playoff contention. I mean, if that doesn't give you goosebumps, I don't know what does. If that doesn't make you love sports, then Chief, find a new hobby. And we're just going to keep leading into that with the AFC North, 2 big games, both at 4:25. Let's start with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, since that's the one that we don't have much to say about it. We both expect Pittsburgh to win this game because of for one, the Bengals are just riddled with injuries. But on that injury forefront, the Steelers are also dealing with injuries of their own. I don't know if James Conner is going to go today. It is still unlikely. Antonio Brown, last night, it seemed like he wasn't going to go. This morning, according to him, he's feeling better. And so he's going to be a game time decision, regardless of whether he plays or not. This to me is Juju's redemption. What's the opposite of bad juju? Good karma. And I am hoping that Juju has that game and he just puts this to bed and they close out the season strong, and then hopefully they can get some help elsewhere. The over-under on this game is 45.5. The Steelers are favored by 14.5 points. The Bengals are dead last in points allowed. They're bottom of the league in practically every defensive category. I mean, the Steelers should just be in cruise control and have a comfortable win. What you think, Drew?
Well, sometimes it's better to be simple. So business shall be booming they're in Pittsburgh today, I believe.
No, they're in Cincinnati.
In Cincinnati. The business will be booming in downtown Cincinnati today. And Juju shall juju on the beat. And Ben shall make one of his Roethlisberger burgers, and we shall see the Steelers pretty much filet mignon the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to tame them. They're going to turn them into beagles, not Bengals. Today they shall tame them. Nah, but seriously though, give me Pittsburgh today. Simple. Samuels, I want to see more of him today in general. I just want to see more of that player, period. He's a good looking player. Liked him. He was in our top 100 for the 22 group when we did our draft boards last year. Very, very good player, interesting receiver, but even more intriguing player out of the backfield. I want to see him, but on top of being able to see him, I want to also see Juju, and I want to see Antonio Brown pretty much have their way with the secondary. Honestly, it's just no way Cincinnati competes. Honestly, I just don't see it. Let's roll with Pittsburgh. Give me Pittsburgh 30-10.
Okay, I mean that's a fair score, and I think one thing also true. I mean the Bengals are decimated with injuries. Drake Kirkpatrick is on IR, Tyler Boyd is on IR, and a little more serious. Regardless of how you feel about this player, Vontaze Burfict, he suffered, I believe, his 7th concussion, and so his career is in jeopardy, and more importantly, that is life-threatening. So, I understand he's not the most beloved player, rightfully so. He is. I don't like to call players dirty, but he is one that qualifies as dirty. He makes some reckless decisions, to say the least, regardless of what. In the words of the great Christopher Wallace, even though we were going through our drama, I would never wish death on nobody. And so for Burfict, I hope that, maybe his career is done, but I do hope that he gets the proper treatment and that he can move on past this. Now, the next game, as we talked about, the Ravens versus the artists formerly known, or whatever it is, the Browns versus the artists formerly known as the Browns. The over-under on this game, True, is 40.5 points. The Ravens are actually 6.5-point favorites. Denzel Ward is out with a concussion. It's really simple for Baltimore. Win and get in. They are top 5 in all defensive categories except red zone. They're 24th in red zone, which is not good. But the thing is, teams don't get to the red zone that often against them. They are a very stout defense. They're allowing 17 points per game, and they're only allowing 2 touchdowns per game. So what you got on this game, True? How you think this one's going to play out?
I think the Ravens have run into the most complete football team they've played against in the last 6 weeks. I can't believe I'm just said that.
I mean, terrible feelings.
So I'm not saying that the Browns don't have deficiency because they still have a lot of holes. Me and you talked about this yesterday. The Browns still got a lot of holes.
Yes.
But the bigger picture is they fixed the major hole, which helps stop some of the leakage into slawness. They got the quarterback and they got the running back. And now the whole thing is starting to try to plug itself up, and it's now just like bubbling. Now it's just bubbling. And got a book So why I say that and why I made that analogy is because Baker Mayfield is on fire. I don't care. He had a bad game against the Texans, but he still was balling in that game. He had just had about maybe 5 or 6 throws that didn't go his way. Then you take into consideration the way that they're running the ball with Nick Chubb. He is a physical downhill runner. That's a grown man playing the back position. You go and you take into consideration as well that this offense has been revived since they've got out of the tutelage of the Todd Haley thinking too much offense.
Yeah.
Now they're just attacking you from different angles. They're attacking vertically. They're attacking horizontally. But more importantly, they're back into the power running game to set up the play action. Jarvis Landry has found his hands after he signed the contract. I think he left his hands on the contract to make sure it was dry. And now he's starting to play better. Defensively, Baltimore is going to have a hard time today blocking Myles Garrett. I just feel like he's motivated to make something happen today. Myles Garrett has put together one of the most impressive seasons from a guy who doesn't have any help. Agbo was supposed to be his help. They passed on Bradley Chubb. Myles Garrett has done a hell of a job all year. It doesn't matter if it's run support. It doesn't matter where it is. This guy has done very well all over the field. Little Williams, we're going to call him today. Greg Williams' son is now the defensive coordinator. He has literally taken the reins of this defense, and he has solidified some positions for some players that are key. Jamie Collins loves to play on that edge. Yeah. And when Jamie Collins is playing on the edge and playing fast and rubbing his belly, it's not very much NFL offensive coordinators can do with him. He's still one of the smarter linebackers we have in this game.
Yes.
And to couple with that, me and Mo talked about this player as well yesterday, Trayvon Coley. He is a very intriguing young player.
He is.
You have to look at some of the pieces. And also, last but not least, Jabril Peppers, the way he has played with Little Williams coaching the defense, he is back to playing like he did in Michigan.
Yes.
He is all over the field. He is blitzing. He is doing everything and then some, and they're getting him away more from covering tight ends and running backs, which I think is huge because he's not a good player in space like that.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, I feel bad for you today because you got that torpedo named Jabril Peppers who will be in your face today.
Right.
They're going to blitz him. They're going to do some things at this line of scrimmage today that we're going to see and probably appreciate on film on Tuesday. I look forward to this game more than anything because I think this is the humble juice that Ravens and Lamar Jackson enthusiasts need today. Yeah. I feel that in my spirit. I'm rolling with the Browns today by a score of 20. I think they put up 27 points on this defense. They get in the red zone often. This is the division game, so all those numbers go out the window.
They do.
27. I'm giving Baltimore 16 points today. I don't feel that there's any way, unless there's something catastrophic going on, that the Browns give up a lot of big plays. I think they keep everything in front of them. They play conservative on the back end, but they send an extra guy every time, or they have Jabril Peppers pretty much just stay in the box and run with Lamar Jackson all day.
Yeah.
That is the recipe for success. Browns 27-16 over the Ravens.
Whew. I mean, look, I've been going back and forth about this game all week. I want to pick the Browns. I am not going to lie to you. I am going to be rooting for the Browns because it'll be good for sports to have the Browns win this game today. But I just saw a comment here in our comment section by Marcus Blackstock. He said, I think Baltimore line is conditioned to run block. That couldn't be a more accurate statement. They are really good in run blocking. They're a really good offensive line. They're really physical. Marshall Yanda has been a tier 1 guard as long as I can remember. He still very much is. That whole offensive line has just, when they run block, they are physical, they are big, and they come directly at you. And with the Lamar Jackson element of it, there's so many different things they can do in the run game, and there's so many run situations where they have an advantage simply because they have more guys to block than you have to attack. Because when you have Lamar Jackson taking the direct snap and you have 3 tight ends and a fullback leading the blocking for him, that creates an advantage. And I think ultimately that's where Baltimore is going to attack, and we know that they are going to run the ball as much as they want to run it. They look like an Alabama offense, to be honest with you, how much they run this football. And Cleveland, we know, have had their struggles running the football. As bad as I want to take Cleveland, I'm going to take Baltimore to win this game. No, man, I can't do it. I'm
trusting my gut today, man. Just like I said, I trust in my gut with a couple of things. I mean, you're right. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes it's just bad grits. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. What's your score?
I mean, look, that's why we play the game. I'm going with a score. Here's the problem. When I have a hard time finding a score, that means I'm picking the wrong team. And I'm having a hard time finding a score. But I'm taking the Ravens 22-17. All right. So we're going to move on now to the rest of the AFC. All these AFC games have playoff implications outside of Miami and Buffalo. They're going to play a game for shits and giggles. But the rest of these AFC games, they have playoff implications. There is nothing locked up in the AFC whatsoever. The Chiefs, the Chargers, the Texans, and the Patriots can all finish with the #1 seed. So the scenarios. The Chiefs win, and they're #1. The Chargers win, Patriots lose, Chiefs lose, they're #1. The Patriots, Chiefs lose, they win, they're #1. The Texans, Chiefs lose, Patriots lose, Chargers lose, they're #1. So a lot of different things can happen. And obviously we have the big Sunday night game with the Colts and the Titans, which is basically a win and get in scenario, which we'll get to that a little later. Let's start with the 4 games I mentioned. You have first, you got, where's this game? You got the Patriots you got the Jets at the Patriots. You got the Raiders at the Chiefs, and you got the Jaguars at the Texans. With the Jaguars and the Texans game, Jonathan Joseph is questionable. Carlos Hyde is questionable, but he's expected to play. The over-under is 40.5. The Texans are a touchdown favorite. Jacksonville, I'm going to give you a little stat here, True. Jacksonville's defense is not – they haven't gone anywhere. They've sort of just given up. And really, how can you blame them? They have such an abysmal offense. It was very similar to Denver that year with that year after the year after they won the Super Bowl, where that defense just absolutely gave up on anything because their offense couldn't do anything. So in the last 2 years, including the playoffs, Jacksonville's defense has allowed only 4 300-yard passers. 3 of those games are from Ben Roethlisberger. So clearly they are still very good. They still give quarterbacks hell. Regardless of everything, I do not think that this is a game the Texans will lose. The Texans are a little more vulnerable in the passing game. Their run game is stout. The Jaguars provide no threat with the vertical game. So I expect this to be a game where the Texans crowd the box. They make sure to stop the run. And I don't think it's going to be a dominating performance, but I think they get by. I'm taking the Texans to win this game 19-10. What you got, True?
The Texans should be able to take care of business today. I mean, bigger picture here is Jags defense really hasn't. I agree with you when you said that they've given up. I mean, when you play with Blake Bortles, it kind of just goes where it goes. I mean, I never expected too much out of the dude in the first place. I thought the only way that they were going to get back to the spot that they were at last year was they were going to have to make some changes and some adjustments offensively, and that was the main guy. When you don't make those changes and adjustments, this is what you get.
Yep.
You play stupid games, and what do you get? You get stupid prizes.
Hey, man, shout out to Aaron Walker. He just walked into this chat, and you just threw that right in there. That's perfect timing. Play stupid games, get stupid prizes.
And listen, this timing thing was I'm just giving the gift of time. But no, but honestly, altogether, man, I like the Texans today. Texans just need to take care of business, man. I'm rooting for that team to take care of business anyway, because at the end of the day, I want to see that team as a top 3 seed in general. I just like that team altogether. I like everything about them but one part, and that's their offensive line, which they better improve this offseason, because I need Deshaun Watson to be able to stand like a statue, period.
Yes.
Moving forward, give me the Texans 27. Give me the Jags. I give them 17 points.
Okay. All right. Next game, Chiefs at Raiders. Over under in this game is 52.5. The Chiefs are favored by 14.5 points. Obviously, the Raiders, while they've been playing better, they're still the Raiders. The Chiefs we know about their offense. They're number 1 in points per game. The problem is that they're 30th in opponents' points per game allowed. So that's a bit of a problem. Obviously, that's their Achilles heel, the run defense in particular. Kendall Fuller is questionable. Eric Berry is questionable. Sammy Watkins is out. So a lot of injuries. This is another one of those games, man. Like, I am rooting hard for the Raiders and the Browns in today's action, because it will just make things way more interesting. All these narratives and all these things that could happen to make this day crazy begins with those 2 games: the Chiefs losing and the Browns winning. So hopefully those 2 things happen. I'm going to take the Chiefs regardless. I'm going to say 29-22 Chiefs. Next game, the New York Jets versus the usual suspects, the criminal enterprise known as the New England Patriots. They have been a shell of themselves all year. Here we are in week 17. They control their own destiny for yet another first-round bye, which is going to be, I think, their 8th. Not their 8th. Their 7th in a row first-round bye. We know all about them. This is a game, True, where first of all, for the Jets, Quincy Enunwa and Morris Claiborne were put on IR yesterday, so they're out for this game. Cordell Patterson is inactive for this game, which means really I expect Sony Michel and James White to just get them to January, and just you don't want Brady dropping back 30 times. You don't want to target Gronk 8 times with that beast of a man, Jamal Adams, guarding him. You don't want Edelman taking any more unnecessary shots. He is Iron Man, but Iron Man is looking very fragile these days. Sony Michel had 21 carries for 130-plus yards last time. James White had 9 carries for 78 yards, not to mention what he provided in the passing game. For the Patriots, it's really simple, man. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball until the clock hits 0, and you're probably going to win this game 24-12. So be it. Get to January, get your rest, and get ready for another Super Bowl run. Maybe, maybe not. What you got on this game, True?
Man, okay. Health, and besides health, Bill, don't do nothing stupid.
Yeah.
Patriots. Just give me Patriots. Give me 24. I like the 24. Give the Jets 13. There you go. 13. That's the number we get.
I ain't mad at you. Next game, Chargers at the Broncos. Same thing. If the Chiefs lose and the Chargers win, that puts them at least at the 2 seed, depending on what New England does. There's no Chris Harris, so obviously that's a big blow. Melvin Gordon is back. Austin Eckler, I believe, is going to be back. Same thing for New England. Same thing for Denver for Chargers. Division game. You're on the road. There's no reason for you to take any extra hits. Just be grateful that y'all asses finally learned how to win enough playoff games to get you in this position. The Chargers do not need home field advantage the way New England and Kansas City does. They are built to go on the road, mainly because their home stadium isn't much of an advantage. So win or lose, it doesn't matter. Just survive this game. I think they win it behind Melvin Gordon. A couple big plays. I believe Keenan Allen is probably going to have like a 9-catch game today. So give me the Chargers to win this one 27-10.
Chargers 25-17.
Okay, cool. Sunday night game. Now, unfortunately for Titans fans, Marcus Mariota is out, which means you got to rely on Blaine Gabbert to get you to January. Good luck, because the Colts, they got Andrew Luck, as in Lock for the Hall of Fame. Once again, I'm going to tell y'all this. I don't know who's watching, but I'm going to tell y'all this. If you're watching, if you don't see why Andrew Luck is that dude, I got nothing for you. And there's nothing I can tell you to convince you, because if you don't see it, hey man, I haven't seen Bird Box, but I see a bunch of shit with the eyes being closed. You must be in that movie, because if you can't see it, then you just ain't watching. Ryan Kelly is out for the Colts. That's a big blow, but I think they'll be all right, because the Titans now, Jarrell Casey is out, Brian Orakpo is out, and Logan Ryan is out. Logan Ryan and Jarrell Casey were placed on IR. Also for the Titans, Jack Conklin is out. So that's 3 beefs and also 3 pieces defensively that are vital to this defense's success. The Colts are number 1 on third down. They're number 4 in the red zone. They're number 7 in points per game, number 6 in passing yards per game. And you look at the Titans defense, here's who they played the last 4 weeks. Josh McCown, Cody Kessler, Eli Manning, and Josh Johnson. That's not exactly the murderer's row of quarterbacks. That's more of the Gallows Bay's quarterbacks of quarterbacks. Not really much anything to see. Little note, one more note. Jalen Collins. Do you remember Jalen Collins, True?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He is finally active, which gives them another piece in that secondary. Perfect timing to help them get to January. Give me Andrew Luck. Give me the Colts. Peyton who? Colts get to the playoffs. After starting 1-5, by the way, fuck your math. Shout out to Jay-Z. When they were 1-5, and all those analytics said that they had a whatever percent chance of not making it, the 2 fine gentlemen that you see on your TV screen live and direct to your set, we predicted that the Colts will make the playoffs at 1-5. Not to toot our own horn, but sometimes you just got to remind these folks that we know what the hell we're talking about every now and then.
As long as I got my suit and tie. I mean, narrative pushers, statisticians, this ain't for y'all. Purists, this is for y'all. This is for you. At the end of the day, man, let's keep it real, man. The Colts deserve to be in January. They have the quarterback. The defense has been better. And also, they're auditioning for the Le'Veon Bell sweepstakes. Period. Colts, 20. Give me the Colts. Matter of fact, I think this is going to be a lower scoring game than we think. I think Tennessee can do some things schematically to make this interesting. But give me the Colts 22, Tennessee 16.
Okay, real quick, we have a question. Black Sock wants to know, was it a hiccup for the Colts offense being shut out by Jacksonville? My quick answer is yes, especially that it was a division game, and division games make no sense.
I just think it was one of those things where somebody forgot to turn on their GPS and they lost track of where they were going.
Yeah.
They lost themselves for 60 minutes. That's all.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna leave it right there by you, True. The next game, I know this is the game that you've been licking your chops for. The Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. 40.5 is the over-under. The Vikings, surprisingly, I guess because they're at home, are 6-point favorites. Eric Kendricks, the linebacker, is out with a hamstring. And CJ Ham, shout out to Ham's Homemade Cookies, buy the damn cookies. CJ Ham with an elbow, their fullback, is out. The Bears are top 10 in points per game, and they are top 3 in points per game allowed. That is very significant, and they lead the league in takeaways. 27 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles and recoveries. What you got on this game, True?
Okay. Logic, a little true logic. So, if I am the Chicago Bears, do I want to play the Minnesota Vikings, or do I want to play the Philadelphia Eagles.
You know you gotta pay some dues.
So my thing is here, this is just my logic. I wouldn't want to play the Eagles if I'm the Bears. Two reasons. Number one, they got grown men up front who can move me in the running game, and they could do to me whatever they would like. They also have a talented and a very, very intriguing receiving core. So they are going to be a very, very, very intriguing group in general for us to be able to cover and scheme for. Eddie Jackson is a little banged up, and he is the glue that holds the secondary together.
True.
And last but not least, Philadelphia can get after my quarterback consistently for 60 minutes. And we're talking 12 people. Excuse me, they may not have 12, they may have 11, because I seen the thing that said Derek Barnett was on injured, it was on IR.
Oh, okay.
Because 11 is still better than 4 last time I checked.
Man.
I would make a Jay-Z reference, but that wouldn't be appropriate because he did make a Super Bowl, did recover the fumble in the Super Bowl. I was going to say less is more. It's plenty of us. But I'm not going to do it. But the bigger picture here is, I think the logic is, I think the Bears allow this team to win today because they don't want to see the Eagles.
You know what? That's really interesting because I agree with you. You don't want to see the Eagles in the playoffs. I mean, that's just the honest truth. So,
do you want to play against a team that is stacked? They have the beef. Once again, no beef, no Lombardi.
Right.
And the one thing the Eagles can do, they have the rookie to do it. They can run this play right here. You see that play?
Yes, they do. Yes, indeed.
They can still run that play. And that play right there, I don't think the Bears can stop that play for 60 minutes, considering that Roquan Smith is still very, 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 very intriguing player in his own right. But when you attach a body to him, you can move him in the running game. Same with Trevathan. Both of those players, when you put a guy hat on them, they can be moved.
Yeah.
The Eagles have Jason Kelce, who was one of the 2-3 best centers we've seen in the league in the last 10 years.
Yes.
I don't want to see that man in the middle to go with shoehorn. What are we gonna say? 4-leaf clover looking Nick Foles. I just don't want to see it. So moving forward, man, give me the Vikings today because I think the Bears allow it. Vikings by a score of 24-21. I think it's still an interesting game, but I think that Nagy takes his foot off the accelerator, takes a couple of chances he doesn't need to, and they fail because of it, because they don't have anything they're playing for besides the opportunity to play the defending champs.
Oh, boy. We had a thread in the Views from the 22 Facebook group. Join it if you haven't. And I basically said, don't let the Eagles in because nobody wants to play the Eagles. They are both teams in Pennsylvania are the most dangerous teams of their respective conference. I don't care what the record says. You just got to look at it for what it is. Film over feelings. For one, they have the beef. The Vikings don't. Like you said, you touched on everything. I think in this game, I believe the Bears are going to want to win this game just because they're going to want to knock out their division rivals. You know what I mean? And I don't think the Bears are going to want to back down from anybody. But I think Kirk Cousins has to find a way to win this game, no matter what. He has to find a way to win this game. If they lose next week, so be it. They probably will lose next week if they advance to next week. But they have to find a way to win. But they have to find a way to win this game. The good news for the Bears is that Kyle Long is back. That's really helpful because they have struggled on the interior in certain spots. But I'm going with the Vikings to win this game. I think Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs can have an impact in the red zone and take advantage of their perimeter matchups, which is where the weakness of this very, very good defense lies. And again, division games, man, they make no sense. And the fact that these teams might play each other 3 times in a row, is scary. But as far as for just for this Week 17 ball game, not to get too in depth about it because you touched on everything, I'm going with the Vikings because Kirk Cousins has to win this game. The other two games, true, that have somewhat of playoff implications that are connected to this game, the 49ers at the Rams and the Eagles at the Redskins. With the Bears, we both think the Bears are going to win. So that would mean that the Rams, if they lose, the Bears, we both think the Vikings are going to win. So if the Vikings win, these two games have no impact whatsoever. Do you see a scenario where the Rams could potentially lose to the 49ers? And do you see a scenario where the Redskins could potentially upset the Eagles? I'm going to let you pick which one you want to attack.
Donald Trump voice. I'm just gonna be honest.
Damn.
I don't think anything happens. I just don't think these two games are locks. I think every week I try to pick locks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm a gambling betting man on some of these things. I'm picking these two games as a lock. There's no way the Rams can allow the 49ers to beat them and then think that they're going to go into January and be taken serious.
Yeah.
I mean, Seattle, their excuse is they're a little bit less fortunate at the quarterback position sometimes. Yes, that is a shot at Russell Wilson. Just that doesn't mean he's slow. It just means he doesn't always play up to expectation. That 49ers game, he could have played better. Period.
Yeah.
Really.
Yes.
But with that being said, I don't think there's any scenarios. I mean, I think the Rams should win. They should still be able to run the ball. They should still be able to do whatever they want to do today. Philadelphia, hungry dogs. They say hungry dogs run faster. They should be hungry because this is their opportunity to defend that that Super Bowl win from last year. So, you know.
Pew, it's 22.
Yeah, we shoot the
22. Oh, man. All right, I got you.
I think overall, though, but seriously, though, the Eagles are the only team in the NFC who I believe it doesn't matter where they go, they'll beat anybody. I think the Bears would be a close second, and I think the Saints are probably the most vulnerable because of the weather factors that play into other places. So them getting in at 1 is important and was important. The Rams, I already said, like I said on the podcast, that offense hasn't looked the same since Cup went down. And I know I know you defended it and said he's a receiver germ. You know how we feel about receivers. But, bro, it's just for that offense, it's slot and running back.
Yes.
If Gurley isn't getting the ball and Cup is not available, that just puts Cooks in another situation. And I don't think Cooks is that type of player right now. And that's not saying he can't be. It's just saying right now. This is his first year in this offense.
Yes.
Then you also have Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a good player. He's still limited in certain aspects. You know, he is who he is. Josh Reynolds is who he is. Yes. Gerald Everett is who he is. Higbee is who he is. Jared Goff is Sam Bradford stepping up in the pocket. Excuse me. He is Sam Bradford with a little bit to the left, with a step to the left in the pocket because he's a statue. And I said that to you before and you laughed, but it's the truth. He needs to be better with moving in the pocket to create better throwing opportunities for himself. And that's period. I like the mental. It's defeat. Defeat look like he's stuck in quicksand. He looks like a young, in the words of Contender 10, who is probably on the live. He looked like Brady when Brady was running like a brand new deer.
Oh man. So yeah, definitely Ant's also on the live. He's telling people to smash the like button. Appreciate that, Ant. Definitely smash the like button.
Ant, my guy, man. Hey, man. Hey, you got to shout out Ant, man, because he's always around in the group. He always got some sports talk, and he helps us fulfill some college things too with some of his knowledge, man. Appreciate you, brother.
I mean, Ant covers it all. He covers archery too. He just ain't he ain't let us know that yet, but I know he'd be watching archery and curling and everything.
That's Superman since Prime time.
All right, so we're gonna move on now. Rapid fire. The rest of these games, not much really, have no playoff implications. Carolina at New Orleans. Over under is 43. No Drew Brees. No Cam Newton. Who you got winning this game, Drew?
In the words of the little Wayne himself, New Orleans. Give me New Orleans. New Orleans today. I don't think it really matters who plays quarterback.
Teddy.
I think regardless, who you said what?
Teddy Bridgewater.
I know. I said I just don't think it matters.
Oh, okay.
Alvin Kamara could have went and played quarterback and they beat the Panthers right now. I gave up on the Panthers 8 weeks ago.
Yes.
When they were 6-3, I think.
Yes.
So yeah. Just I don't know anything. I just trust my gut. And it wasn't bad grits this time, Chief. Yeah, let me get the Saints though today. I think the Saints should still be able to run the ball. Mark Ingram. This is why you have Mark Ingram with Kamara.
Well, Kamara's out.
Power running game. No, I know. Kamara's out, but Ingram's in. Yeah. Power running game. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. That's Empire reference. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. That's what I want to see all day. I just want to see y'all knocking these folks' heads off. By the way, Luke Kinkley, we was doing a linebacker study the other day amongst the Views crew. That is a special individual.
Yes.
Just shout him out because they wasting his talent over there in Carolina because they ain't never gonna win shit. Sorry. But yeah, give me New Orleans. Like I said, New Orleans.
You know what? I'm taking New Orleans as well. Speaking of another great linebacker, Bobby Wagner and the Seattle Seahawks are playing the Arizona Cardinals, and what's likely Steve Wilks' last game. The Seahawks have nothing to play for. Regardless of it all, I'm gonna take the Cardinals to win this game. I don't know why. I just think they're gonna play fired up. I think the Seahawks, they may rest some guys. They may not play guys throughout the whole game. Give me the Cardinals to win that one.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yes.
Bang, 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 bang. That's what I'm going to do. Seahawks, best running team in the National Football League. And we know why. Because they took Mr. 1 Cent in the draft. Mr. 1 Cent. That is his name from now on, ladies and gentlemen. He is no longer Rashad Penny. He is Mr. 1 Cent. Mr. 1 Cent.
Yeah, I mean,
respect on his name, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
give me Seattle.
We'll certainly talk about Seattle next week when they're in the playoffs. There is a lot to get into about what Seattle does well. There goes my Apple Pencil. What Seattle does well and how they can be effective in January. The next game, the Lions at the Packers. What's that?
Mo Knight. Bob Knight is throwing cheers. Mo Knight is throwing pencils.
Oh my God, yo! Next game, Lions at Packers. The Packers are gonna finish last in their division, regardless of what happens today. That is a tragedy, yo.
Wow. Who is their quarterback again? Do they need to draft one?
Brother, as I call him, and as he shall forever remain, Bootleg 12. And there is a reason.
I think they need to draft a quarterback.
I'm gonna take the Lions to win this game. No Devontae Adams. I think Equanimeous St. Brown is gone, so I don't think Aaron. Yeah, I know, and I believe Aaron Jones is not playing as well, but I could be wrong on that.
Jones is on IR.
Oh, yeah, he's on IR. That's right. He's on IR. So I'm taking the Lions to win this game, and the Packers to finish with 6 wins. Wow. Sad.
6 wins, and Aaron Rodgers hasn't missed a game.
That is just terrible. That is, I mean, no excuses there. All right. Who you got? Lions or Packers?
Tua sweepstakes 2020. Because that's a quarterback, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, God.
But anyway, give me the Packers. The Packers should win today. Yeah. They should win. I think. Hey, look, fantasy. If you want to start a quarterback today, I think you start Aaron Rodgers today, y'all, because he may throw for 5 touchdowns and 500 yards today. If you can start him, start that sucker because he may get you paid today.
He just might. Last Yep, the last two games, once again, not much relevance to them. Falcons at Buccaneers. I'm taking the Falcons. Dolphins at the Bills, and what's likely Ryan Tannehill's last game. Give me the Buffalo Bills to win that game as well. I'm taking the Falcons 27-24, and I'm taking the Bills 19-17.
We're gonna circle the wagons together, brother, because I just think hey man, like in the words of Vic Jr., the way Buffalo plays defense, stupid. And at the end of the day, man, the Falcons, are they in danger of finishing last in their division too?
I can look that up right now. Let me see. Open up this thing.
I'm looking right now myself.
Oh my bad, I didn't switch to your screen. Packers, where are they? Falcons.
No. But
well, if they lose,
it could be a three-way tie
yeah,
for slaw heaven.
Hey, I heard in the South they got good barbecue. There's plenty of slaw for that good barbecue.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Look at, but first of all, let me make sure we make this clear. Well, we said the Buccaneers would be like 2-2 team. Shouts out to the Buccaneers because they won 5 games.
Yeah.
If y'all win this 6th game, I tell you what. If y'all win this 6th game, maybe I put some respect on y'all name next year. Don't matter who the coach is, who the quarterback is. I put some respect on y'all name if y'all win this game. But you know what? I think the Falcons should win. It should just be simple. It should be Don Julio, a little bit of Ridley, a little bit of Sanu, a little bit of Coleman, a little bit of Smith, a little bit of Ryan. There you go. Yeah, I just named all 7. I named all the players. And then whenever you feeling like you broke, get a little hooper in you. You know?
Oh my goodness, man. You know, just when I think you can't outdo yourself, you outdo yourself. So true. True man in a false world indeed. I ain't even mad at you, Chief.
So wrap up couple things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Seahawks, I want to see them, of course, next week. They will be playing against the Cowboys for sure, more than likely.
Yeah.
Next week, when we hit these matchups, which we have already started the lab process for these games, these games should be very, very good once they're settled. I think Philadelphia and Chicago would be a better matchup, obviously, for us. And I say us meaning the lab heads, because I just don't see any way. I see no mathematical way that the Vikings win 2 times in a row against the Bears. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think return of the Mac, and we get Kirk Cousins. I mean, Kirk Cousins doesn't look like he's going to have much of anything to take away from this year besides he got paid. I mean, he went from a bad situation in Washington to a little bit better situation in Minnesota. But he went from a great blindside protector in Trent Williams, a subpar offensive line, to possibly one of the 3 worst offensive lines of football. Yeah, you got Thielen and Diggs, but you are going to have to figure out in this offseason what's more important, paying this quarterback $85 million and putting the players around him, or paying this quarterback $84 million and putting the offensive line talent around him. Because if you don't protect your quarterback, Kirk Cousins is going to be Andrew Luck 2.0 with a back injury by the middle of next week.
I mean, look, what's the phrase? No beef, no Lombardi. And now that we get to January, that's the most important thing, because like I said, November and December, you get into big boy football. January and February, we get into grown man football. And when we get into grown man football, you need that beef in order to get that Lombardi. That's the show, y'all. Couple things. The Views from the 22, like we said, we are on YouTube now. That is where we're going to be doing our film sessions, our live shows. If you've been rocking with us since the Facebook group, actually, if you've been since the Petty Sports Network, and then we moved on to the Views group, we're going to be doing everything through YouTube from now on, and Twitter. On Twitter, Views22. On Instagram, Views_22. Join the group on Facebook, like the community page on Facebook. We are on Anchor, which distributes to Spotify and a plethora of other podcast distributions. We are working on getting onto Apple Podcasts soon, soon enough. It's going to happen. Enjoy the games. Week 17, a lot of crazy things could happen. Most importantly, if you are going to be one of the 12 teams that are playing in the next couple of weeks, in the words of Hove, I wish you well. How sick am I? I wish you helped. Or I think I actually got that one wrong. I ain't heard the American Gangster album in a couple months, but True, take us home.
You too.
All right.
Enjoy the week.